Hello and welcome to a new vlog and trip report. Today we're taking a look at a tram of Munich, or in general the public transport of Munich, as we're not only traveling by tram but mainly by tram, and we're using different lines to do a little sightseeing tour through Munich. And here on the map you can see all those lines and routes that we are using in this video. We're starting at the station Schwabing Nord, where our hotel was located, and we're firstly taking the tram line 23, which is, as far as I know, the shortest tram line of Munich from Schwabing Nord to Münchner Freiheit, so we're following the line on its full length. Our tram is the type R2.2, currently the oldest type of tram used in Munich, but they received a refurbishment and their interior looks like a new built tram. From Schwabing Nord all the way until Schwabinger Tor we have our own track. We're crossing the so-called Mittlerer Ring, the middle ring of Munich, which is one of the most important streets of the city. And then we are reaching Schwabinger Tor, and there we're gonna see some very beautiful architecture. But here we are at the crossing of the so-called Mittlerer Ring, and then we are reaching Schwabinger Tor. Here we can see this interesting architecture of this tram stop, and just a few meters later there's already the next stop called Parzivalplatz, and from there on we're on the road just like a regular tram. Just a few seconds later we are already reaching the end of the line at Münchner Freiheit, which is a very important interchange point of the public transport network in Munich. Here we can change for buses and especially for the U-Bahn, the underground of Munich. That's also what most passengers are doing, so almost all passengers were heading from the tram directly to the U-Bahn. And with the U-Bahn we are now heading into the city center. We're going from Münchner Freiheit to Odeonsplatz, which is right below the city center. And now we can take a look at the sights at the city center. From the Odeonsplatz we're walking past the Theatina church to the Residenz. There we have different courts that we can see: the Kaiserhof, Apothekenhof, Brunnenhof and Kapellenhof. And then we're reaching the Residenzstraße, again the Residence Street, which is bringing us to the Max-Josefs-Platz. And after that we are reaching the Dallmayr Gourmet Store, which is also worth a visit. And after that we're reaching, of course, the most famous square in the city center called Marienplatz. This is the central square of Munich. As you can see, a very beautiful place. And after that it was time for another very touristy thing. We visited the Hofbräuhaus, the most famous restaurant in Germany. And of course I had to order a Mass beer. We sat outside as the weather was very nice, but if you want to have the full Hofbräuhaus experience, of course you have to sit inside. We then walked past the famous Eisbachwelle, where you can surf in the middle of the city, to the Englischer Garten, the English Garden, which is a big park in the city of Munich. And one of the highest points there is the Monopteros, and from there you have a beautiful view of the sunset. And right next to it is the tram stop Tivolistraße. We're now continuing with the newest type of tram, the type T, the Siemens Avenio, and we're using the line number 16 to go from Tivolistraße to Mariannplatz. Most interesting part is at Max Monument, where we have to go around the monument, and then we're leaving the tram at Mariannplatz. From there we walked past the church St. Lucas, and we're crossing the Mariannenbridge and the Kabelsteg, and then we are reaching the Rosenheimer Platz, and there is a very interesting restaurant called Georgia Trattoria, which has a very interesting design, as you can see here. That's how we found the restaurant. Sometimes restaurants with a fancy interior do not have good food, but here also the food was amazing. And if you visit the restaurant, make sure to go to the toilet, because that's an experience for itself. From there we then took the S-Bahn from Rosenheimer Platz back into the city center. It's only one stop at the moment, as the station Isartor, which we are passing here, is closed at the moment due to constructions. So the next stop is Marienplatz. Usually it's 2 stations, and at Marienplatz we're then changing for the underground again, which will bring us back to Münchner Freiheit, and from there we're taking the tram again. Here we are back at Münchner Freiheit, and now we're using tramline 23 again on its full length all the way to Schwabing Nord, where our hotel is located. We were staying at a Premier in Munich City Schwabing, which has a very good location right next to the tram stop, so quite easy to access. At the moment this is the end of the line, but there are already constructions for a lengthening of the line. Here we can see the hotel room, which we left in the next morning, stored our luggage in the car, and then we headed into the city center once again. This time we're using tramline 27. Usually this line is not even operating from here, but due to constructions we can now use line 27 instead of line 12 from here. This line will bring us directly to the city center. So now we're following the same route like yesterday till we reach the Parzivalplatz, and from there we're using a different route to Kurfürstenplatz, and only there we are reaching the original route of the line 27, but the rest of the line was closed due to constructions, and therefore the line was now going to Schwabing Nord. On our way into the city center we're going past the Pinakotheken, some art museums, and at the Karolinenplatz we have to go through a roundabout with our tram, which is also quite interesting, and then we are reaching one of the most important stops in the city center called Karlsplatz, and there we are changing for the tram line 21, which will bring us to one of the most famous streets and the most luxurious street of Munich, the Maximilianstraße. Here we can see a tram of the type S. Unfortunately we're not traveling with this type in this video, because our next tram is again a type T, and with this tram we are now going past the most expensive street of Munich, as you can see when you take a look at the cars parked here in front of the hotel. We're now coming back to the station Max Monument, where we have been yesterday with the line 16 as well. Here we can see the monument, and then we're crossing the river Isar and we are reaching the Maximilianeum. That's a very beautiful building and we have to go around it. We're going on the right side and the trams in the other direction are using the other side. So also quite interesting part here of the tram of Munich. We're then leaving the tram at Max Weber Platz, to be precise at Johannisplatz, and we have to walk back for a few meters to make our connection to the next tram, which is the line 17. And with this line we're now going all the way to the end of the line at Amalienburgstraße in the west of Munich. Therefore we are crossing the river Isar once again, going past the German museum, Isartor, Sendlinger Tor, and we're reaching Karlsplatz once again. From there we're going past the main station of Munich and we're heading west now. At Romannplatz we have to go around another roundabout, and shortly after that there is a very short moment where you have a beautiful view of the castle Nymphenburg. Then we're going past the Botanical Garden of Munich, which is also our next touristy destination. We're gonna visit the Botanical Garden in a few seconds, but of course we're taking a look at the whole length of the line, so we're going one stop further to the end of the line at Amalienburgstraße, and then we're taking the next tram back to the Botanical Garden, and then we can of course also take a look at the Botanical Garden, and I can highly recommend visiting the Botanical Garden. It's a magical place, not only because of all those animals that you can see there, but also because of the atmosphere. You're actually feeling like you're somewhere in a tropical jungle or somewhere completely else on the planet, It's a fantastic place and I can highly recommend visiting the Botanical Garden of Munich. Especially the houses are very interesting, but also the open air area is very, very beautiful, and I would highly recommend visiting the Botanical Garden in Munich. We're now taking another type of transport. We're taking a bus past the Olympic Stadium of Munich back to Schwabing Nord, and there this video is then coming to an end. In the next video we will be at a completely different place, and here you can see when this video will be uploaded and the name of the song. As always, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to comment, like, subscribe or share the video link, and I hope to see you in my next video then.